Welcome to Tanakh Talk. I'm your host, William Hall, broadcasting to you live out of Kingsland, Texas, USA, with episode number 2 of Rabbi David Katz from Israel, bringing to you Soul Mazal, bringing to you Ger. He's got so much stuff to bring to you. We're going to have to talk about it rather than introduce this fellow. So I want to bring, this is just an amazing opportunity for so many people who have asked questions to me that I could never answer, that so many other people really long to know. What do I do once I get out of idolatry, leaving the church? And so with all that said, I present to you our rabbi from Israel, Rabbi David Katz. Rabbi, welcome to Tanakh Talk once again. I'm so glad to have you here, and I know everybody else is too. How are you doing, sir?
Thanks for having me back. I'm glad to be back. It seems like yesterday we did this the first time.
It sure does. It sure does. And hopefully, if all goes well, we won't be doing this tomorrow for the third time. Oh, yeah. So we're going to keep an eye on the computer. It's actually dropping a little bit, so we might be okay. The first one was good. I know that we're going to probably need to recap a lot of what we talked about because so many people who are tuning in now don't know about episode 1. And it's really, and I know that's the general consensus of our conversation, of our topic anyway, is what do I do? I mean, some people are actually in the church still. They're questioning their faith. They're questioning the whole validity of the New Testament. Some of them are trapped there in fear because they don't know what to do. But some of them have made that declaration. They've left the church and they've moved on outside. And with the main question that plagues us all at that stage in our walk, what do I do now? And so that's why we have you here, Rabbi. This is what we're going to talk about. So, Rabbi, just before that goes, you've got some classes and stuff that you're doing now. What's going on in your world these days?
It's a good question. My world's kind of hard to follow. Those my stuff, it's hard to follow. Every other day we're coming out with a new series. That's not intentional, but I guess the official format of what I'm supposed to be doing is number 1, first and foremost, this is most pertinent to you, William. I, God willing, will be in Texas August the 10th through August the 25th.
Awesome.
Yeah.
10th,
Russell
I'm assuming
Kirk on Facebook and Rod Bryant over at Nativ.
Okay.
They know more about what I'm doing than I do. I just, I show up. I don't know. I'm not sure what days it is because I'm just keeping my side active over here. I think I'm at Rod's. I asked Rod, but I think it's Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday, something like this, of that first week.
Okay.
The first night we'll be telling the Ger story. What is Ger, why Ger, and an entertaining, laid back, meet Rabbi Katz. Rabbi Katz meets Texas. Firsthand, what's going on here.
Sure.
The second day, Q&A. There's going to be a lot of questions. We know that. And I'm going to be there to answer the questions, and I'm committing obviously the whole day to that. That's gonna be fun for me, and it should be fun for everybody else.
Awesome. So some time in that window, if you have some time to break away and want to do an in-studio interview, let me know, and we'll make that work while you're here in town.
Where are you?
I'm a little bit of a truck for you, about 3 hours from Houston, from Nativ. And
all right, so that can be either going in or going out, I assume.
Right. We the very first setup that we had. The very first, I guess you could say, the Tanakh Talk before it was Tanakh Talk interview we had set up was with Rabbi Singer, and he was going to be flying in to Austin. I was going to pick him up, bring him here. He was going to do his Q&A with the guests that we had here, and then the next morning was going to take him to Houston. Well, during the night, his flight got canceled.
Had to pick him up. His arms were tired.
Well, unfortunately, his flight got canceled, and so it turned out that we wound up almost not doing the interview at all. But then at the last minute, whenever a lot of the people decided to hang out anyway, even though they knew it wasn't coming, and he called me on the phone, or I called him, and he says, "Wait a minute," he goes, "My flight's delayed," because he said, "Put the Skype up." He says, we'll talk for a few minutes. We wound up keeping him for 30, 45 minutes of just really good Q&A. And, but anyway, he was going to fly. He was actually going to come here, and I was going to pick him up. So with that same thought, if that's an option, I'd be happy to do that, to bring you here and somehow get you to Houston as well. So we'll talk about it more as time goes on. So.
Yeah. And then that Shabbos, I think I'm at Anita Jones's. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Then we go over to Waco, there for a while. again, I'm not sure exactly how the dates work. Then we go to Abilene, and then either around Lubbock or in Lubbock. Not exactly sure. That's the general gist of what I've heard.
Okay.
But I know it's focusing on Abilene, Waco, and Houston. That much I know.
Got it.
And then back to ZFAT and ready for Elul and the holidays coming in. It was a superb year. The book was launched.
Perfect.
I think when I came on your show, the book was either just being launched or soon to be, or just was. Not sure.
Yeah, it was soon to be, I believe. In fact, since you're talking about all of this, if you don't mind, just give us a quick spiel on everything that you've got your hands involved in right now, and explain your websites. I've actually got those up on the screen right now. You have soulmazal.com, gergear.com, soulmazal.blogspot.com, and also your YouTube channel. Please go.
Right, so I'll go ahead and give a couple minutes of just who's Rabbi David Katz in the present time and space.
Perfect.
Tuesday nights is my live class. We're back to doing live classes. The kiddos have grown up enough to where I can get back to doing live shows. So Tuesday night, 9 o'clock, Israel, and our virtual platform. It's a link that I can't say over. It's one of these, hard to say over links. But the link can be given out upon request. It's virtual chat room. You sign up for free sign in, and the classes are about an hour and a half. It's a closed community to get back to hands-on being with people one-on-one, before and after class. The topic is Proverbs, Mishlei, and the focus is wisdom. Really getting into wisdom. What is wisdom? Living with wisdom. Focusing on the 7 laws, universal approach. It's really the whole Torah focused into this framework. It's a really amazing class. It's something special. I always try to do a video class once a week. I have all kinds of series going. Sometimes I can do a Ger Light series, which I think we're up to like 6 or 7 of those, which is Ger retold over, kind of with an easier feel. Kind of wherever I'm at. We have a lot of little series happening at different intervals. Whether it's a Psalm series, the Ger series, we've been doing a Shulchan Aruch law series. Let me turn this off right here. Somehow this came back on.
Okay.
Every week it's just kind of seeing where we're at, seeing what comes up in the Ger world, what's going on in my world. But you can count on a video lecture once a week. We're doing Mazal stuff, the spiritual connection, universal between us and God. In the mornings, my learning partner, as you say in Hebrew, my chavrusa, Jason Specht, who I'll be staying with in Abilene, we do a Pirkei Avot, the ethics of the fathers, Jewish ethics, and just kind of righteous living. It's a tractate of the Talmud, and then the Mishnah. We do that in the morning. What else is going on? There's a bunch of series off the top of my head.
And are all these series, are these available, or a portion thereof available on YouTube?
They're all available for either the audios go up on japp.me. It's an app for your smartphone, tablet, whatever. The videos, also audios, go up on YouTube, which you can find under my channel, Soul Mazal, SOUL space MAZAL. My content, it also goes up there on soulmazal.blogspot.com. The book stuff, there's always, the Ger World book things we're doing. You can find the book at gergear.com. My personal work dealing with wisdom, mazel, people's names, helping them find the spirituality in their lives. Kind of, you can call it advanced Ger. That's going on at soulmazal.com. And don't forget my day job. I'm on Facebook more than I would like. Because the Ger movement, the Noahide movement, every movement seems to be on Facebook. And nobody emails these days. It's all live. And it's ironic. There's plenty to do on Facebook. We opened up a group for sources, of documenting Ger sources. It's a chat thing because so many people are on. They have questions, and we're congregating, and we're spreading the light. So Facebook is really has become a community. I think when I first got involved with the internet, the blog scene was that community. And nowadays, it really has moved to Facebook. I don't claim to enjoy that. It just is. It's the most convenient. We're all there.
Sure.
We're all time zones apart. I found wil'Liam here. And so that's it. I'm kind of everywhere on the net. I'm in my office working. bringing down gear sources, teaching. People come to Spot and come into the office, meet me, and we talk gear. We'll be going to Texas soon. So it's, for all intents and purposes, I call my office Gear Headquarters, and that's pretty much why I call it Gear Headquarters.
Very good.
It's, there's something really dynamic going on here, and I love it. And the reason why it sounds complicated is because I live this. It's nonstop, you know. And if people have ideas for Torah classes or we're doing something, it's going nonstop. And that's really what my job is to make sure the gear consciousness stays alive and keep the content coming out and keep sharp with the sources and keep the naysayers from being naysayers, because the gear is a true reality, and it's coming. It's here. It's here, and it's growing, and thank God. It's an honor to be a part of it. And the people I'm involved with, such as you yourself, wil'Liam, it's more than an honor to be involved in this. It's a special time in history, and it's more than I could have ever dreamed. It's fantastic work.
That's awesome. Well, as you're mentioning about all of this, my mind is going back to your book now that it's available, because a lot of people were tuning in last time, and actually at the time I thought the book was available, but it wasn't. But now it is. So if you would, because it's what all these people are putting, people who are taking the time to write these books. A lot of people don't know about them. So tell us a little bit about your book. You know, it can be found at thegergear.com. So just kind of in a quick scan, cover to cover on one foot, what do you have for us?
The cover itself. Everybody asks, what's going on with the animals and the guy with the baby? So I wrote the book with my partner, Chaim Chlorfine, who wrote Path to the Righteous Gentile. I think every Noahide on the planet's read that. It was the flagship book of the Noahide world. And we became friends, very close, about 15 years ago, learning together for 15 years. We had nothing to do with Noahides. And I fell into Noahide. He fell out of Noahide. And we teamed up just because he became interested in my research, ironically. And he wrote a book on the Third Temple called The Messianic Temple. Name has nothing to do with Messianic Judaism. It's a story about Ezekiel's temple. And one of the pictures in the book was this kind of messianic feel of, was it the wolf and the sheep laying down, or whatever that prophecy is. So he had that picture drawn up for the book, and we figured that really is what we're talking about in the world of the Ger. You know, kind of it's a totally different world order. We're not talking in NWO here. We're saying, you know, the messianic world where just everything is peaceful and in harmony. So that's the actual cover. People ask about that. Inside,
I've got it on the screen right now with the Jewish answer stuff, the Noahide home. So the world of the Ger is, I think I found it at pre-order gergear.com, pre-order Hotmail. So if you just go to gergear.com, you'll find this book available immediately right there on the front page. Just click on the picture and you'll have it there.
That's right. And so it all started, I mean, I did a lot of Noahide work, which quickly turned into Ger work based on people's questions. And that's what we're here to talk about tonight. I'm leaving idolatry. I left the church. Rabbi, can I keep Shabbos? Can I keep the holidays? Can I hang out with Jews? How do I leave the church? What do I do? And these are the questions that people are asking me. And I think, you know, we see that everybody gets asked these questions, but what makes me different from, let's say, Rabbi Singer and Rabbi Richmond, and all these people, we all find our niche, you know. You can only give the people back answers based on what your niche is. So my niche is not deprogramming the New Testament, and it's not bringing the red heifer. That's not what I'm doing. It's not my thing. My job was to answer these questions. Can you keep Shabbos? Are you a person identified in the Bible, Old Testament, sorry, Chumash, whatever you call that book. We call it, you know, the Chumash, the Torah, proper, 5 books of Moses. Rabbi, am I in that book? Can I do the things that I read about in that book? I can't tell you why I think I'm in there, and I won't tell you that I think I'm in there, but I think I'm in there. That wasn't coming through, but the questions were. And I'm looking at the questions, and my number one policy was, do not lie to these people. Do not give them the party line, you know, because too much in any wisdom, no one looks it up. You give them the party line. You know, whatever I was told, that's what we were told. I call it lying. Because why do I call it lying? If I'm meeting you, we're having a good rapport, we're teaching, let's say 5, 6 classes. do I really owe it to you to, just scoot you off with, what everybody else can tell you, what you can find out just by, by looking around and not digging too deep? Is it not my obligation, if I am a true rabbi, to tell you what the Torah is truly saying? I mean, that's the challenge that I always give myself. David Katz, if you're a rabbi, then be a rabbi, right? If you're not up to the challenge, step down and go work at McDonald's, Either be you or stop telling people you're a rabbi. Mm-hmm. That's been my thing the whole time, because being a rabbi is challenging unless you go at the party line and you don't challenge yourself. The challenge is, are you up to the challenge of the questions being asked, a smicha test, whatever it is you're up against? And I'm a former wrestler, so I'm up for the challenge. And the first thing I did was, can we keep Shabbos? Long story short, there's this thing that can keep Shabbos, and it's called the Ger. And upon further research, the Ger is a Noahide. Have a nice day, folks. Next topic, please. And the questions keep coming. So then it becomes, hey, Rabbi Katz, is that Ger guy that you're talking about kind of like Naaman? Hey, Rabbi Katz, isn't Jethro a Ger? Hey, Rabbi Katz, what's the story with Shem? Was he a Ger? Abraham, was he a Ger? So after about a year of Ger questions, and I'm putting out article after article, Ger, we seem to have this Ger thing going on to the point where it's a thing. So that's when Chaim gets interested, and he now wants to write the book. He's sold. He's loving this. He actually met some students that had come to Sfat, and we sat down and said, all right, are we going to do this? Yeah, we're going to do this. What's in the book? So we thought, okay, chapters for the book. Torah of Shem. My whole thing started with the Torah of Shem. Then you got to have Jethro. Then you got to have Naaman. Then you got to have Shabbos. Then you got to have Queen of Sheba and, historical Tanakh Ger. And by then we had X amount of chapters ready for a book. I'm giving classes once a week, really getting the Ger oomph. What is a Ger? Who are these people? Are they Noahides? And having a rapport, having the Skype network that still exists today, that really fuels the whole thing. And getting to the nitty-gritty, and Chaim then is on the receiving end of my side, and I'm giving over who this Ger is. So it comes time for writing the chapter of Naaman. And he says, who's Naaman? And I'm like, okay, go get Kings 2, chapter 5, verse 1. Here's this guy. He's an idolater. He's Nachri, the idolater. And he's going to kill the king of Israel. Doesn't even know he's going to do it. And it turns out he comes in, he says, I want to see the prophet of God, the prophet of Israel, because I have this impurity. It's going to be Tsaras, and I need the prophet of Israel. Lo and behold, Elisha comes, long story short, throws him in the Jordan River, dunks him. Gee, where does that come from on the other side? Right? It's all we see where it's taken from. And Naaman is cured, and he becomes your quintessential Ger Toshav. For all intents and purposes, the Hebrew Talmudic term for Noahide. And it's not enough that Elisha dunks him once. He dunks him 7 times. Right? And so all these numbers come up with Naaman. 7, 7, 7. And I was saying that's the Ger kind of tshuva experience, If you were to take right now a Ger and say, I am a prophet of Israel, you need to go dunk in the Jordan River 7 times, would you not jump up and down? You'd say, hey, 7, 7 laws and all this stuff. So that became the theme of Naaman. And in Boker Tov, ladies and gentlemen, every Jew has that experience too. You see the numbers pop up like 7. It's not a random thing. We see that there's a divine providence. And so Jethro comes up, and I don't know, Rabbi, I always thought Jethro wasn't really a convert. Upon further review, Jethro was not a convert. Now, a lot of people say, hey, that's a machlokus, but big guy. That's an argument amongst the sages, and some say he was a convert. I hate to tell you this, no one says he was a convert. They say he was a convert. When you look in the original, nobody suggested he was a convert. The Hebrew says lahit gayer, which everyone will say that means to become a ger, a convert. That's if you look at it in today's world But where Jethro was concerned, the Lahit Gayer means he became a Ger, as in Ger Toshav, Ger Tzedek, non-Jew. So we had to really dig out these gems that have been missing for how long? That was the Jethro chapter. Really, did Shem sin by blessing Abraham first? Logic tells you no. But they say Shem lost the kahuna, the priesthood, to Abraham for blessing Abraham before God. But upon further review, the Kabbalistic sources say Shem did great doing that. And there's reasons why, redemption-oriented even in doing so. So each chapter was a discovery of a monumental gem along these lines. And that became the book. The book became not the Talmudic Ger Toshav, not what your rabbi says the Ger Toshav is or isn't according to the Rambam of Yisrael B of 14:7, which I don't know, Rabbi. I can't read Hebrew, so I trust you. That's not our goal. Even though I've worked that out, my teachings do cover that. That's what I do. But the book is saying, wait a second. Before you get into this, you don't need to get into the rabbinic pill pull now. You're a Nachri that's leaving the church, just to give it an average, okay? Obviously, there's long-time Noahides that read the book, and the book applies to them. But, who's Naaman? That Naaman's like your quintessential Ger of all time. He's your Nachri who knows he's different, can't really prove it, can't articulate it. I don't know. I think I'm more than that. And he finds out he's a Ger Toshav. He's textbook quality. He's going to be your poster child, so to speak, for the entire Ger eternity. Right? That guy we wrote the book for. The guy, like you're saying, he's in the church. He doesn't really believe in this stuff anymore. I don't want to be here in church. Secretly at night, he's on the internet looking at Jewish websites. I think I'm a lost Jew. It's got to be in my blood. Something's not right. I love matzo balls. Something's with my soul. And what he's trying to find out, whether or not it's the DNA, lost tribe, this and that, what he's trying to rediscover a very simple and lost term called Ger. And that's what the book's about. Rediscovering that you really are in the Torah. You were there the whole time. You were never gone. You were the sojourner. You were the stranger. You were the alien. And when you get deeper into Ger, you were the friend. You were the companion. And ultimately, you were the long-lost brother of Israel alongside through the exile, through the good times, the bad times, and in the redemption times, the Ger will be a part of what's called the Nilviim to the house of Jacob. It really is grafted in the language. I can tell you where that comes from. The word for blessing is also synonymous with the word grafting. You can see the Rashbam commentary to Parshas Lech Lecha by the blessing of Abraham and also in the blessings of Jacob, that all the families of the earth will be blessed by you. Now, obviously, it becomes a non-kosher idea when the Messianics use that too. But where did they get it from? This is where they got it from. It's like the name Yeshua. It's a great Hebrew term. It means salvation. We say it every day in prayers by the Jewish people, right? Karen Yeshua, the horn of salvation. It's a shame that these things get turned to the dark side. Mashiach and Yosef, very holy topic. It's a shame that it became synonymous with the other thing. And the Ger, too, became convert. The non-Jews, you're a bunch of idolaters. So it's a sad story. The best parts of Judaism either became black holes, dormant, or considered not kosher. Now, there are those things that are not kosher. But the Ger is so holy and so beloved by God, it's just one of those things. The story has to be told. The truth must come out. And ironically, it was always there. It just never became a priority and this and that. So the book is, for the first time, take a look at the Ger of the 5 books of Moses, Old Testament, the Bible, the Chumash, however you relate to it. All those times you said to yourself, hey, is that me? The book says, and it comes to say, yeah, that's you.
So let's go on back a little bit because you covered that book quite well. To address some specific questions, how do we what do you say to someone who has just left the church and now they're simply just staying at home? They want to keep the Sabbath day and not work. Can I keep the Sabbath? Can I take off? Is it forbidden for a Ger to to keep the Sabbath day? Is it forbidden me to try to keep it as close as I can to the way I know? What do I do what if I can't do it at home? Is there a place I can go? Can I go to a synagogue? Can I go to, back to a church? I mean, for crying out loud. Some people get really lost and they feel like they can do good by going to church on Sundays to get their fellowship just so that they're not lonely, but then also with the hopes of leading someone out of idolatry. Is that even okay to do that? Is it okay to go into a church once you have realized that idolatry is forbidden? There's so many, there's just so many questions that are just flooding with people's minds. How do you go about that, Mr. Rabbi?
So there's two words you have to know: lechatchila and bediavad. Lechatchila means optimal. Bediavad means not optimal. Torah Judaism wants optimal, right? Do it the right way. And I'm not talking, what the rabbis say, some kind of dogmatic back in the church again, right? Because if you just go by what the rabbis say, it's another dogma. Now, you can say, wow, he's bashing the rabbis. No, the rabbis don't do that. It's a misnomer to think that's what a rabbi's function is. It's like, what bothers me the most is it's like, oh, it's a cliche to bash the rabbis. Ironically, in history, the rabbi wasn't the bashable guy. But it was the anti-Semitism in self-hating Judaism that said bash the rabbi. Today, when it's like here we are at the end, now the rabbi is being bashed, but it's not the same complaint as it was. You see what I'm saying? It was totally out of place before. Today, when they say, oh, they're bashing the rabbis, it's not the same argument. Meaning, to say, listen to a rabbi, people are going to say that's dogmatic, and I left the church. Why am I going to fall into a new church? And for some reason, on the Jewish side, it's not being articulated. That's not what we do, right? So, number one, the rabbi here is here to instruct and educate what proper Torah methodology is. It's not to say that we're here to think for you and program you. Therefore, when you come out to see a rabbi, it's guidance. It should be chaverim, friends. Meaning, sit down, learn, have a rapport. It doesn't mean you're back into the church. And too many times it's assumed that either because, oh, it's the non-Jews or whatever it is. And it's not Beseder. It's not okay. Now there's bediavad, less than optimal. I'm not listening to anybody. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to go to the Chabad house and sit there and let's see if they can throw me out. They're not interested to throw you out. They're going to ask you questions. How you doing? Where are you from? And as you see, it's not a crime. Okay? You're not going to get beat up. When you just show up and don't make a fuss out of it, there's no crime. There's no harm, no foul. But that's not the optimal way. Then you say the optimal way is, what, I'm going to go sit under a rabbi? So that's also taken out of context. So let's put it in context the right way, right? Because the wrong way, I think we can all understand. I'm rogue. I can read the internet. I know what my rights are. Okay, you're your own leader. Thank you. Have a nice life. You know what you're doing. And it's not a complaint or, let's say, an accusation. It's just, that's not my business, right? If you're not going to play by the rules of the Torah, then, hey, you're just like most of humanity, and that's just not my industry, right? My industry is kosher Torah, telling people what the Torah says and wants, right? My smicha's in Shabbos. I can tell you 100 ways how to break Shabbos according to the laws of Shabbos. But is that what I should teach? Well, you can turn the light off if it's by accident, Yeah, okay, you don't have to bring an offering to the temple, but is that how you keep Shabbos? So my job is to say, what is the proper way of keeping Shabbos? Right? Along those lines. So let's assume that as the modus operandi here, okay? Now, how do we do it? The way to do it is this. Let's build up a little story. You're a Nachri. Means you are not Jewish. You have no Jewish mother. You're in the church. You probably don't want to be in the church. You have issues with the church. Whatever it is, you are investigating Judaism. Your faith in Yeshu is out the window. Your wife still believes. Your kids believe. You're a renegade. What do I do? I'm all alone. They're going to disown me. Where do I go? Sound familiar?
Totally.
Okay. So you are called and again, this is just the Torah methodology here of the optimal way. You are a Nachri. You are a danger to me, the Jew, meaning I'm not going to teach you Torah because you don't yet understand the seriousness of it. How do I say that? Because if you're willing to keep Shabbos on your own, you're certainly not going to listen to me. And it's not because you're evil or this or that. You just don't know. And mind you, every Jew does the same thing, right? The rabbi says, I can't turn the lights off and on. What does he know? He's living with the Amish, right? It's on both sides. So the Nachri is really not my business, what he does. My job is to acknowledge him. He is not an existential threat. I know that he's like Naaman. He's going to come around. He's going to mature very quickly. He's going to realize things. And he has friends that are going to help him out. People that are the Noahide, check this out. He's going to go maybe messianic, right? Maybe Jesus was just the Messiah, son of Joseph or something. Whatever Trafe is going out there. He doesn't know what kosher is yet. He just knows what really, really, really not kosher is. But he feels it. He's on his way. His heart is gold. He's not an open threat. He's a threat because he's immature. He's wild with this stuff, and we basically don't want to waste the potential here, because this guy can end up in any new cult, right? Hey, come check us out, and he's vulnerable because he doesn't know how deep the rabbit hole goes, and certainly no Jews are going to tell him. So he's more alone now than he ever was. The Nachri is not in a good place. But he's in a good place with God because he's breaking the idolatry. He's ready to say before, based in, theoretically, God, I'm with you, and I've rejected that stuff. I'm done. So he's done 99% of the hard work. Now he just has to keep reiterating that pattern, right? Keep smashing those idols. Keep going for the truth. Keep being Abraham. Don't stop until you get to God. And we know that's not an easy path, right? Because everybody's going to come here and say, don't listen to the rabbis. They're going to put you back in the church. You want to keep Shabbos with us. We're the new Jews, or we're like this, we're like that. And again, this exists in Judaism, right? My Rebbe's the Messiah. My Rebbe can beat up your Rebbe. It exists everywhere. This is life. Right. My dad can beat up your dad. Right? My wrestling coach is better than yours. So this is humanity. It's the way the world works. But we're just viewing it in the spiritual arena finally. Now let's say you've got some grace of God coming to you. You fell onto you fell onto soulmazal.blogspot.com, right? And you said, Rabbi Katz, and this has happened, so it's not a total thing, right? I left the church. In fact, I'll document a true story, right? I left the church, Rabbi Katz, and it was recommended to me your Ger videos. I mean, I've heard that at least 1 million times at this point, right? I saw on Facebook somebody recommend your Ger videos. Because the Nachri would say, well, I feel like I should be doing mitzvahs, and Noahide's not for me, and I don't really like the word Noahide, and I want to keep Shabbos. Hey, did you check out Rabbi Katz? No, who's Rabbi Katz? Oh, you should listen to the Ger series. I don't know what a Ger is, but I'll listen. And here comes Rabbi Katz, and hi, this is Rabbi David, the whole shtick. And by the end of it, I don't know a word that guy said, and it was a lot of Hebrew, but I'm a Ger. That's for me. It feels right. At that point, he's going to contact me. There's where he contacted his rabbi. If it's not me, it's Rabbi Singer. If it's not Rabbi Singer, it's Rabbi Greenbaum. It's the whole world that we're all a part of. It's a big society. It's really not as infinite as it may seem, as we're finding out. And he's going to say, well, what do I do, Rabbi Katz? I say, okay, take on the 7 laws and, oh, you live in Texas? What a coincidence. Go join up with Rod Bryant over at Nativ. Oh, you're from over here. Go talk to this guy on Facebook. He knows your friend. Somebody knows somebody or something, right? This guy, he's going to get plugged into something. It's impossible that he won't. Now he's going to understand 7 laws. Now, if we're going to keep it optimal, okay, he's going to reject idolatry. He is now a first-level Ger Toshav. This is not a status. Do not walk around saying, well, Rabbi Katz said I'm a first-level Ger Toshav, Got a certificate. Look, right here. There it is. First level. Don't tell me I'm not. Right? I'm not giving you a card. I'm not giving you a 2.0. You don't get a medallion. Right? Just basically say, look, I left the church. I don't believe in idols. I'm walking with God, and I understand the 7 laws is the path. That's where you are. He's going to do the. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to just ask you to go ahead and narrate some on the Noahide Laws to be really precise. Not only on what not to do, but also on what can be done. And most people who are really interested in finding this out, they really don't know what they can get away with. They really want to know what they're responsible for.
And so that's why we're talking the optimal path, right?
Okay, so to further that question,
know that they can go read and find out a million things that they can do, right?
Right. So
let's assume that guy already knows that, right? For the Betty Evan approach, go type on the internet, non-Jewish mitzvahs, whatever it is. You have endless reading. Have fun. But if you want to do it the God-fearing way, listen up. Here's how you do it. Now you will have rejected Avodah Zarah at some point, which that's obvious. You left the church. Done. Check. 7 laws. You're going to find out there's no way around the 7 laws. And it's not a punishment. It's not a diminishment. It's a big merit. 7 laws is it's your lifeline. It's going to take a high-level Noahide. I use that word Noahide, but high-level knowledge to understand the 7. Right? It's like you won't. That's your version of Nasa v'nishma. I will do, and then I will listen. Nobody gets the 7 right away. It's a Kabbalistic thing. I mean, it's the powers of your soul. And it doesn't seem that way. Just, be careful not eating the limb of the live animal, okay? So that's what it sounds like. But it cannot be, it can't contain that light in those 7 laws by, let's say, like a one-way definition. So let's just assume, for the sake of this interview, 7 laws is a very, very vital, spiritual, holy thing. Let's assume that. I mean, it's in Kabbalah, for those listening, it's called Zer Anpin, right? It's the level that we all want to be. So the Noahide is, let's say, given a faint vision of what the ultimate is. And the more he grows in his service of God, he will realize that level. And the Jew doesn't have that model. He's given the wisdom of that model. So he has to realize from a different way how to come to this great spiritual level. I always like to say the Jew is a very male type of soul, and the Ger is very female, only to provide a contrast, right? We're both, brothers on this journey. It's just one is this way and one is that way. All right, wil'Liam, do you have a brother?
I have multiple brothers, yes.
All right, and so I assume you have a mother and a father, right?
I'm not certain about that, but yes. I'm just kidding. That was
you were born of a male and a female.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I assume that your parents had a different relationship with you and your one brother. Of your brother, whatever brother it is, you had different relationships. They had different relationships with you and him.
Absolutely.
Right? So he's better than you, right?
Totally. They all know that.
But the Torah is life, right? We say by the Ger, it's written in the Lashon B'nai Adam. It's written in the language of man. So, God has these two paths of the creation called Adam. First, it was Adam and Eve. They messed up. And then at Sinai, it became the Jew and the Ger. And we know that Esav had the mission in bond. Ishmael had the mission, bond. Abel and Cain had the mission, bond. Aaron and Moses became the leaders of the brotherhood. So Sinai was when we finally began to get it right. Now, quickly, it's going to go sour with a golden calf. We're going to blame it on you, because that's what brothers do. That's just what they do. And you got it over the head. We got it over the head. We tried to chill together in the first temple. We became the idolaters. You were disgusted with us, and you got exiled with the 10 lost tribes. That's where they get the whole tribal Ger thing. We then got beat up in Babylon. We came back poor and destitute. You came back to the land and helped us win in Hanukkah. Then things got a little dodgy at the end of the second temple, if you know what I mean. That became a religious expo for 2,000 years until Zionism came about. 1948 came about. 1967 came about. 2000 internet came about. 2005 Ger came about, give or take. And here we are. It all comes down to the William Hall Tanakh Talk Show with Rabbi David Katz and William Hall. And that's the Jew Ger, paradigm. So the Jews have had their path laid out. Only the Jew doesn't recognize his path because, as irony will have it, the Jew doesn't recognize his path. Can you fill in the blank? Until he's a light to the nations.
Perfect. And
the nations are not doing their path until they're being the receptacle of the light to the nations. Right? Your mom says you're not going to get your cookies until you clean your floor and clean your room. Now, at the end of the days, we're saying, okay, William, you take the floor, I'll clean the room. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Got it.
We're cleaning our room, we're doing our stuff, and we find out, hey, this wisdom works. Mm-hmm. We kind of get along. I'm not trying to mess with you. You're not messing with me. It's not even a thought. It's just two guys at the end of their time frame. The internet's here. I'm in Spot, my office. You're in Texas, which is like all the Ger movement. I mean, for all intents and purposes. And we find out we have a lot in common. We both are coming to the truth that we didn't know. We have a lot to offer. And if you work together, you find out the Light to Nations program works pretty good. And the prophets had it going pretty good. And you can start to understand Naaman and Elisha from a totally different light. Then you get in the Torah. And you find out there's a secret society of brotherhood that has existed through time. Call it Shem and Abraham. Call it Rebbe and Antoninus, who was called the Ger Tzedek, the first of the Ger Tzedek non-Jews. And you find out all through time, Moses Jethro, there was this guy in the background. I'm not so convinced he's Jewish, but they're telling me he converted. I don't buy it. And it's like, but hey, he converted. He's Jewish. I know he is. And the non-Jews are saying, hey, I'm not so sure. What are you trying to make us all, convert to you? So now that the animosity is over, and we look inside, there really was two nations at Sinai. One became commanded Jewish, and one was this fourth house called Ger, whatever that is. And for whatever reason, they were Ger. And you say, well, how could that be? Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Are there those of you out there that cannot convert today? Oh, there are? Oh, so you mean you're Ger. Why don't you just convert? Wow, same story at Sinai, right? Torah's eternal. Some people just don't want to. Not a question. Not in the place to. I got to go back to my people. It's called life.
Can you touch base again real quickly the different stages of the Ger?
Yeah.
If you don't mind. From Noahide.
I got off that train, so now we'll go back.
Okay, perfect.
So now it's the Nachri. He's checking it out. He rejected Avodah Zarah. He's learning the 7 laws because that's where we left off in this little tangent. And he says, you know what? I'm a pretty spiritual guy keeping my 7. I know you don't understand it. That's not for you. I feel good with my 7. And it's not a diminutive. It's not what people say it is. I know what it is. And he's learning about Shem. He's learning about things, Solomon and Proverbs, things that he can learn. Then there's certain Torah rights and liberties that come with Ger, namely learning Torah. It's acceptable around Jewish circles. He doesn't feel odd man out. He's accepted because it feels right. There's no more false pretense that's keeping people apart. It's not these weird questions like, well, how do you know that Jesus isn't the Messiah? It's not that that's an offensive question. It's just a non-relevant question.
Sure.
It's just not relevant. It's not the thing you talk about. So now the Ger's really not interested. He just wants to learn Torah. He's seeing God. He recognizes that God recognizes him. He's learning how to be with God. He's saying, hey, I feel like a fish in water. This is what I always dreamt that sojourner to be. And now it's like a dream come true. I am that sojourner. And then you find out the sojourner has a place. He always did. He's the Ger. So let's just say Ger Toshav is perfecting the relationship, the covenant, reclamation of the covenant that he has with Hashem, the God of Israel, from Sinai, alongside the Jews. He'll find out there's a lot of Ger in the Tanakh, a lot of Ger in the Talmud, a lot of kind of just feel right story.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I always connected to the red heifer. Did you know that that's a Ger mitzvah? The Ger is included in that mitzvah, the non-Jewish Ger. And, it's just the Korban Pesach. Did you know that you can do that if you're circumcised? You don't have to go to the mikveh. Did you know that you can bring an offering today, a Korban Olah? So there's a lot of things the Ger can do. Even the Nachri can do a certain extent more than he thought. So now there's a precedent for the relationship. We don't have to suppress it. We can be open about it. It's not to be ashamed of. It's a Kiddush Hashem. It's light to nations. And you'll notice it. It really gets the divine attention because life starts to become worth living. If you're just saying, hey, Dave Katz, it's so great being Jewish for myself, isn't it? Yeah, Dave, it really is. Hey, let's go eat gefilte fish. I got to go. But, with Gerim, you wake up and you run to your computer because there are Gerim out there 24/7. 24/7. After Shabbos, my thing on Facebook has 100 things because there's Ger action going on when I'm not even there. They're out there. They're real. They're people leaving idolatry, growing. It's relationships that you can care about. It's funny when you see the memes on Facebook like, oh, my Facebook friend who doesn't care about me. Why do we have this false society? Ger's not a false society.
Mm-hmm.
I meet these people. They come to Sfat. We talk nonstop about real things, real life. It's real. It's reality. It's friendship. It's love. It's bonding. It's what life is about. You don't get that from the surface level fluff that goes on in the mainstream light. But this is like secret societies of the kosher kind, of real people looking for real truth, real life. You don't need intoxication and all kind of fabricated experiences. Jew and the Ger get together, they will experience the hidden light of God. That is a promise.
Okay. Do me a favor, please. Tell me the difference between the Noahide, the Ger Toshav, and the Ger Tzedek.
Noahide is a fake concept. It's an English word. It's put together from different concepts. It is a non-entity. It has its purpose. It serves a purpose. It's a launch pad, kind of advanced Nachri in my language. But is it real? No. Is that a problem? No. It's not a problem. It's a safe ground. You're learning. It's safe. Rabbis all the time have created realities for the sake of Torah. For example, on Shabbos, if I have keys in my pocket that's illegal to carry, I can put them on a rabbinic status called makom patur, a permitted area. Totally rabbinic. And so it's not a problem. but it's not the end all that we want.
Sure.
You could even call it in Hebrew the Ben Noach. He's a Nachri, a Goy, an Akum, an idolater, same terms. He has not dropped idolatry. He is striving to keep the 7 laws. He has not mastered it to where he's like, okay, this is Sinai. Because once you've mastered it, you're going to naturally progress. If a baby's learning to crawl, can you tell him no?
Mm-hmm.
Say, stop crawling. I don't want to watch you. Go back to not crawling. So you can't. There's a natural progression. Once you're the biblical Noahide, you're a Ger Toshav. You're a Ger Toshav, which means you accepted the 7 laws, rejected idolatry. Whatever Torah relationship is described, you prescribe to it, not because you have to or dogma, because you've realized the Torah is true, Sinai is true, Moses' prophecy is true. You are believing in Jew-ish. You have entered in what's called Dat Yisrael, the faith of the Jewish people. You're not Jewish, you're not converted, and that's probably not your intention, but you understand the Jewish faith. More specifically, Jewish spirituality, the God of Israel, things that you wanted as a messianic or Nachri, but you didn't go after it the kosher way because you didn't know, and it wasn't taught. So again, no crime. In terms of, you're eternally doomed. You've come out of that. You've repented. You found the truth. You're happy with it. You're growing. You're showing the Jewish people how to drop their idolatry, because without the full universal feel, you don't really know what the God of Israel is about, because part of the God of Israel obviously is being light to the nations. I am not a true person until I've had grandchildren. So I'm a half a man. But, it's not, I'm not doing a sin because I'm half a man yet. I am commanded, keep going in the Torah, and you're commanded to be the most complete person you can. And that's adhering to a Torah lifestyle.
Okay, I'm gonna run a series of questions/statements past you, okay? And then once I'm done, you can just kind of reply, okay?
Before you do, can I just say one last thing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The Ger Tzedek non-Jew has done all of the prerequisite, but because he's maintaining the prerequisite, we'll call it Noahide, biblical Noahide Ger Toshav, if he takes on a further mitzvah by learning it and keeping it, he now is called Ger Tzedek non-Jew. He is called your brother in terms of those mitzvahs. If you're not Jewish and you've taken on everything that you can, and now you're saying, I want to take on another mitzvah, a Jewish bona fide mitzvah, Rambam chapter Hilchos Malachim, chapter 10, halacha 10, you want to take on tzedakah. You are now my Jewish brother in tzedakah. You're not a Jew, but in terms of that mitzvah, I can't say, you're a goy, you don't count, you're lesser. In that mitzvah, you prescribe the Torah ideals. As far as that mitzvah, you are called my brother. It's almost like an embassy in a city of another country. Nice. Now, in the other mitzvahs that you're not involved in, then obviously you're a Ger Toshav. So where you choose to be my brother in a proper Torah way, you're my brother. And if I taunt you, the Torah says it is an avera, a sin. Do not taunt the ger. You are to love the ger. Go ahead.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Very well said. Okay, so as a ger, as someone who's come out of Christianity, out of other religions as well, and they're curious as to the 7 Noahide laws, what are they? But more precisely, what are they not? Can I marry anybody I want to? Can I eat pork? I know I was raised on pork. I love pork. I want to eat pork. Is it okay if I eat pork? Can I go to a church with a friend if they invite me? What does it say in regards to physical relationships? I mean, is homosexuality one of those things that is lost in translation for the ger? There's dozens and dozens, but so in your quick spill on covering what the 7 Noahide laws are, if you could touch base on a few of those other ones, especially the one regarding homosexuality, because I've been getting this question asked a lot, and it's a sensitive topic, and a lot of people don't like going there, but it is something that needs to be discussed.
Can we take a 1-minute break?
Totally.
Yeah, I just have to check out for 1 minute.
Okay, sure. No problem at all. I'm going to go over with your little website thing here, okay? So for everybody, as you have seen so far, Rabbi David Katz information, soulmazal.com, spiritual mentoring. That's pretty much what that website is for. Gerger.com is where you can find his book and the YouTube channel, Soul Mazal, Mazal, is where you want to go if you want to buy this book. So it covers so many different things. It's been such a pleasure having Rabbi Katz and Rabbi Hoffman and so many others who come to the show to show you and tell you things and are willing to take the time to teach. And just like me, I know many of you out there have so many questions regarding what it does mean to be a ger. And again, that's why it's so important for us to discuss these terms. There's just like the whole question about eating pork or going to church, going to weddings, things like that. Where's it located? Can I marry a Christian? That sort of a thing. I mean, these things are practical life questions that we all have because of either ourselves or because we know someone in that situation. And for many of you parents out there, it seems to be a little bit more pressing because a lot of times we're dealing with our own children in these matters. So we're going to find out more answers from Rabbi Katz upon his return. Meanwhile, be sure to tune in to us this Wednesday again for Rabbi Michael Skovak on the Rabbi Cross-Examines the New Testament. And also this Sunday, we will be picking back up with Rabbi Tovia Singer. We missed this last weekend because of a traveling situation on my end. I just got back in town super late last night, about 3 a.m. Finally got to bed and up again at around 6:37. And now I'm with our beloved rabbi of the day, Rabbi David Katz, who is upon his return right at the moment. And so we'll bring him back in now. And Rabbi, kind of going back over the discussion, what things are permitted for the ger. What do I do? What can I do? What can't I do? Something I mentioned while you stepped away, Rabbi, was another question is, can a ger, a ger tzaddik, if you will, or a ger toshav, can that person marry a Christian? If they think that they are pulling this male or female out, can they engage in a marital relationship with this person and commit to that life? Knowing what they know, and just like I mentioned earlier, some of the ones we mentioned before as well. So I'm going to turn the microphone over to you and let you kind of tell us what you think. We've got about maybe another 5 minutes or so if we can kind of head that direction. Thank you,
I'm going to take you totally in a different direction.
That's fine.
And I want you to really pay attention, okay?
Okay.
Really pay attention here. This is powerful, what I'm about to say. Rabbi Katz, can I marry a Christian? Rabbi Katz, can I eat pork? Rabbi Katz, can I go to a church? Right?
Okay.
That's the question.
Yes, those are general questions, yes.
But then you said, can a ger toshav or ger tzaddik do these things, correct?
Correct.
If I'm going to answer you wrong, I'm going to say you can this is not true. I'm making this up, okay? But if I'm going to answer in the theoretical way, no, you cannot eat pork. Yes, you can go to a church. Yes, you can marry a Christian. That's called ger toshav, ger this, ger. That's the wrong answer. Pay attention to the right answer. Ready?
Okay.
Assuming you just now asked me the questions, my response is this. It's not ger tzaddik, it's ger tzedek. The difference between tzaddik and tzedek is a tzaddik is somebody who is righteous, like Joseph the righteous. Tzedek is translated in the Aramaic, which is authentic translation, as truthful, yashar, meaning straight, like just, or like the authentic ger.
Okay.
Period. That's the answer.
Okay, now for those who are more going at my speed, what does that reflect on?
Answer means don't dwell in the nature of din, meaning can I or can't I? Once you go in can I or can't I, the wisdom out.
Right.
Ger is synonymous with wisdom, Torah, wisdom.
Okay.
The difference between tzaddik and tzedek, if you say ger tzaddik, I never said that. So it's about sharpening up what the Torah actually says in the wisdom of. If you can identify from study what is a Ger Toshav in the Torah, what is a Ger Tzedek in the Torah, what is different about the word Sadiq, you will gain wisdom. Then you will know how to ask the proper question. Mm-hmm. Then you will not get a false answer. Period.
Okay. I've got it.
I know it sounds strange.
No, that's fine. And I know that that's the right answer. And the way I need to address it is on a yes or no, just so some of the viewers who actually ask these questions can actually say, I got a clear answer. And I know what the answers are. At least I think I know what some of them are. I mean, like one, I was told that regarding pork, you're not obligated to keep the kosher laws. Regarding marriage,
But I'm going to be I got to be tough a little bit. That's just not what Ger is. That's Noahide.
Okay.
Right? Noahide is dealing with those yes or no, can I or can't I?
Good. Okay,
the divine code was written for that reason. Ger, it's like, it's a bad analogy, but bear with me, okay?
Okay.
It's not meant to be. You know how when we were in grade school, the gifted kids didn't have to do their homework because they had more advanced things to do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I don't mean this is advanced in that, but you understand the analogy.
Sure.
Right? Advanced kids got to, color pictures. And we said, whoa, Johnny, that's a great unicorn. But if the regular kid did it, he would get an F. We're not drawing unicorns, Johnny. It's the horse. Right? So Ger is just dealing with a different set of values. I don't mean moral values, mm-hmm. like numerical values, because he's already advanced, having kept the 7 and solidified Sinai, which means he's dealing with a higher level of math. You cannot describe algebra to a 5th grader in what's it called? Arithmetic.
Got it.
You just can't.
Right.
Go tell him what an integer is, and a variable. Like, what? It doesn't compute. When I was in yeshiva, what's the pain of yeshiva? I feel, hey, I'm a spiritual guy. I'm smart. I deserve to be told the truth, Rabbi. They sit you in the beginner's class like you're an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to realize, okay, I'm not an idiot. I'm growing. And when you grow into the next class, you feel like, wow, I never knew this is what it was. If I would have known this, man. In Judaism and Torah, it is not seichel and nushi. That is the reason in wisdom of man. The very thing that you're fighting, I'm not going to go under the laws of words of men, right? Is that not what we all say?
Mm-hmm.
So then don't do it. Don't fall back in that trap. But understand that the oral Torah is not a system of the laws of man. It's a series of wisdom. If you read it like the laws of man, you get things like the Lahid Gayer in Hebrew is become a convert, otherwise you're a goy. That's not what it says. You will read that if you say, is it this or that? Is it a Jew or a non-Jew? Well, if you pin me to a corner, I'll say it's a convert, it's a Jew. Because it's certainly not the goy, the idolater. Mm-hmm. But with wisdom, you say, you never approach, is it this or that? You say, hey, what is that, I wonder? Lahid Gayer. Maybe there's a level not a Jew, not an idolater. This Ger thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a graduation of maturity. If you've left the church, why did I say the Nachri is a threat? He's not mature. My 6-year-old son is a threat to me. If I leave him alone in the house because I want to go into town, I will come to problems, right? Mm-hmm. The cops will be called. I will be arrested. My house will be burnt down. And he'll say, hey, Abba, I was just making French toast.
Mm-hmm.
That's unacceptable.
Sure.
He is a threat to me, but I love him, and he will grow up to be an amazing guy. And when I can talk to him as an equal, I do. But he cannot understand certain things because he doesn't have the wisdom. It's not an intellect problem. And I realize this as a parent. Anybody with a parent knows your kids are not dumb. They are full-fledged adults, but they don't have the experience and maturity of communication and vessels to advance beyond, right?
Mm-hmm.
You try to say, why are you crying? He can't say, well, listen, Dad, the kid at school called me a jerk. And I'm saying, like, I'm not a jerk. I think you're a jerk. And then he looks at me and says, your shirt's funny. And I said, you're the one wearing a Daffy Duck shirt, man. Right? He can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
All he can say is, he hurt my feelings. He's no good. I don't like him. Because he doesn't know the wisdom of life of beyond first grade. So Torah is the same thing. Mm-hmm. It's maturity, it's advancement. Jews go through it the same as non-Jews. If you tell a Jew, a returnee to Judaism, bold Jew of a Jew, and he says, hey, just tell me what I can do and can't do, it is also wrong. Because he will never advance. It's neutering the guy. He's going to be stuck, and he'll never experience what is wisdom. The Ger is blessed, ein kamohu, because he is given the gift of wisdom without having to suffer a lack of wisdom. I'll use this as an analogy. When I first started Taekwondo, I dislocated my elbow in wrestling, and I couldn't wrestle anymore. And I signed up for Taekwondo, and the instructor, who's still a very good friend of mine to this day, he said, have you ever taken martial arts? I said, no. He says, thank God. I said, why? It's horrible. I suck. He said, because you have no bad habits. And he was right. I picked up Taekwondo so fast because as a wrestler, we're, in the upper body. As Taekwondo, it's all legs. I picked it up like a sponge soaking up water. I didn't have to go through the deep programming. I didn't have to ask the question, hey, should I kick it like this or like this? In Tai Chi, we did like this, and Kung Fu, we did like this. I didn't have those problems. I just tell me how to kick, man. I'll figure it out. And that's the Ger. He has to realize he's free. He has left idolatry. He has no baggage. He has left the schmutz behind. There's no more church. There's no more what he would call the rabbis on him in that way. The rabbi needs to no longer be, you can do this or that. The rabbi is the sage. It is Elisha the prophet to Naaman. They must connect and fertilize in wisdom. I promise you that's the way to grow.
Okay, to the person who was raised in high school football and wrestling, and you really want to twist it up some, ballet and whatever the case may be, they've got all this stuff they have to unlearn. Speaking to that type of person, because not everybody's like that. Not everybody has come into Torah under a clean slate. And in fact, the majority of them have not, which means they do need more education. They do need more direct answers. So what I want to do, and this will be my last little spinoff for today, would be I would like to mention a topic or just mention a word or a phrase, and you just simply say yes or no. Yes, you can. No, you can't, period. And we'll just do like 4 or 5 things. Would you agree to do that? Possible. Okay. We'll take what we can get from you, Rabbi. Okay. Pork.
What I've heard from Ger, the answer is no. They have told me, and I'm not Jewish, so I cannot vouch for this.
Okay.
I have been told by several students there is no comparison between he who has given up pork and he who eats pork. It is my wisdom perspective from experience in the field. Step 1, give up pork.
Okay. Marrying a person who believes differently than you do. Marrying a Christian, whatever, you have left idolatry.
Every day, I have seen divorce. I've seen pain. I've seen suffering. I myself, my wife has passed on, and we had similar issues before she passed. My words of wisdom, advice to you: marry somebody who's on the same page as you spiritually. It is just too difficult to mend that. Once you go religious, you're going to stop doing things or start doing things, and it's going to infringe on that person's life. I know a Jewish couple that wants to get divorced because she wants TV. He says TV is the Satan. Mm-hmm. Try resolving that one.
Very good. Okay. Homosexual relationships.
The 3 Noahide Laws. Yes, there are 3. Tractate Chulin. There are 3 Noahide Laws for a national society. Uphold the honor of the Torah Do not engage in cannibalism. Do not engage in male marital contracts. I mean, don't be too liberal. Don't be too radical, and don't be obscured on what is biblical law. The bottom line is uphold society. We know there are issues, but the Noahide Law really wants a moral, just society. It is just as immoral for me to steal cookies from the cookie jar. As dumb as that sounds, I will be paid for, or I will pay for that crime. It's true. It sounds stupid. I know that. Everything you do, you pay for. That's one you don't want to pay for that. Even though you might not die, and okay, God is merciful, there are certain things you just don't want to pay for. That's one of them.
Okay, so the answer to that would be no.
My advice is no. I understand it's a challenge for some, whether you say it's born this way, whatever it is, fight it. You don't want to pay for that, because in the end, there's not going to be, hey, guess what? It's okay. It's not. Now, it doesn't mean you flame in fire, eternally, okay, because you committed a sin, right? God does forgive sin. There's tshuva, there's repentance. However, there are certain things to not make a lifestyle of. That's one of them.
Mm-hmm. Can I go to my auntie's house for Christmas?
Yeah, but again, go in with your eyes open. Don't go there being the Jethro program. I'm going to show them the light. Be in reality. I also have this with my non-religious family. Come on, Dave, you can talk on Shabbos. It's not a big deal. No, actually, I can't. So understand the truth. Understand reality. Understand they are not enlightened. You are. Understand that they can be enlightened, but use wisdom. Don't say you're eating pork, you're gonna die, right? That's din. Don't do that. You're giving them this or that. Mm-hmm. Use wisdom, and you'll be amazed what wisdom can do. On a personal note, I'll tell you, I made Aliyah 15 years ago. My family was heavily secular, and there's a family in town that said, don't ever underestimate the effect you have, because I was not religious, she said, and my whole family became religious and moved to Israel. And another week from now, my mother is making Aliyah, and my sister hopes to join her in the near future, along with my brother. It can happen.
Wow. Okay, Rabbi, how about some closing words of encouragement for our people who have joined us from the church, if you will, and just a little bit of a nice little nudge for them. What would you have to say?
Stop thinking about Messiah. It's a dead end. Start thinking about God, the God of Israel. Christianity, Avodah Zarah, the church, Buddha, it's all messianic-based beliefs. Right? What is Messianic Judaism? Well, the rabbis got wrong about Yeshu, so he was really Mashiach ben Yosef. No! Stop with Mashiach. It's not relevant. At least not step one. Step one is I have a place in the covenant with God. I recognize the God of Israel. He recognizes me. I am in his Torah. I'm in the book. I matter. I have a soul, a real soul. I have a relationship with the Jewish people, the land of Israel, the entire Torah. I matter. I exist. I'm here. I am part of the covenant. I'm alive. I'm eating the tree of life. That's what it is to come out of the church, leave idolatry, the Jewish resurrection of the dead, so to speak, come back to life.
Rabbi, it has been fantastic. Love the questions. Love the answers. It's amazing what we can learn in just a short little hour. And so it seems like it went too fast, though. So, folks, come to us again. We're going to try to schedule up episode number 3 with Rabbi Katz based on his availability and schedule. Meanwhile, check out his website, soulmazal.com, soulmazal.blogspot.com, and check his YouTube channel out, Soul Mazal as well. Rabbi, did I miss anything there?
Gear.com. Check out the book. You will not regret it.
Perfectus. Shalom, shalom, everyone. Until next time, take care.
אני אתה אתם תמיד תמיד כולם ביחד, חשוב מכל חשוב והכרחי להיות ביחד. איפוק זו העוצמה, ויתור זו הגדולה, השאיפה והכמיהה.